voice. Good afternoon, and welcome to Unity Church-Unitarian. I'm Reverend Lara Cowton. I'm the Minister of Congregational Care here, and I bid you all welcome here in the sanctuary and also those across time and space joining us virtually. As we gather to celebrate and remember the life of Jacqueline May Kneifel Lind, Jackie. We gather together to mourn and to celebrate and to say goodbye. Following our service, you're invited to gather in the parish hall for a reception with Jackie's friends and family. and to take a moment to look at the artifacts of her life that have been so lovingly displayed. Welcome. Welcome to this time and place where sorrow and joy and memory and hope join to create a living memory of Jackie, whose presence in this life brought spirit and sustenance to so many. Today, you join here in the ancient tradition of celebrating a well-lived life through song and story, maybe some shared tears, learning some new memories from others' stories. The gift of this occasion will itself become a source of sustenance for those who leave here to continue those memories. We are mindful that many faith traditions inform our individual journeys, and we hold in gratitude the foundations of love and service that those traditions hold in common with ours. In keeping with the Unitarian Universalist tradition practiced at Unity Church, we ask you to silence your devices. And we light our chalice. We light a chalice at the beginning of our worship services, our child dedications, and our memorial services, to remind us of our own living. The light of this chalice transforms wax into pure light and warmth. It transforms the stuff of this world into the love and activity of our daily lives. And as we remember Jackie, may today bring forth transformation in ourselves from grief and healing, memory, wholeness, and from celebration, love. In the presence of life, we say no to death. In the presence of death, we say yes to life. Will you please join me in reading the responsive reading that's in your order of service? In the rising of the sun and in its going down, we remember them. In the blowing of the wind and in the chill of winter, in the opening buds and in the rebirth of spring, in the blueness of the sky and in the warmth of summer, in the rustling of leaves and in the beauty of autumn, when we are weary and in need of strength, when we are lost and sick at heart, when we have joys we yearn to share. So long as we live, they too shall live, for they are now part of us as we remember them. I invite you to rise in body and in spirit and join in singing hymn number 34 in the hymnals that are in the pews with you. sweet. Please be seated. Although our grief is strong at times and we must mourn, we will not let the shadow of death obscure the living person who touched us many times in many ways, filling our lives with memories and meaning and love. Before the wonder of living and dying, we are humbled. In the midst of our sorrow and our grief, we feel a sacred connection, and out of our memories and affections flow thanksgiving. In our gathering together, in our compassion and our love for one another, our healing begins. Let us be wise and brave enough this afternoon to honestly remember and celebrate the whole of a human life, the life that was Jackie Lynn's life. Let the faiths and the philosophies that sustain us separately meld into a unity of the most human and the most universal, where the differences of time and space and discord dissolve in the awe-inspiring and wonderful harmony of this moment, this opportunity, this promise of being together in memory. We come together in community to acknowledge our individual and our collective grief, to share what has gone from our lives because Jackie has died, and also what is in our lives because Jackie has lived. Feel your grief. Don't hold back your tears if they come. They are the raindrops of your friendship, the salt of your love. Let us take a moment of silence together in prayer and reflection and meditation, to gather our individual thoughts and feelings, to offer our words to that which you call holy, to remember the person that Jackie was and how she touched our lives. And then we will begin to say our farewell.
This poem was found in an end-of-life folder that Jackie labeled Readings for Service. Celebrate the temporary. Don't wait until tomorrow. Live today. Celebrate the simple things. Enjoy the butterfly. Embrace the snow. Run with the ocean. Delight in the trees or a single lonely flower. Go barefoot in the wet grass. Don't wait until all the problems are solved or all the bills are paid. You will wait forever. Eternity will come and go, and you will still be waiting. Live in the now, with all its problems and its agonies, with its joy and its pain. Celebrate your pain, your despair, your anger. It means you're alive. Look closer. Breathe deeper. Stand taller. Stop grieving the past. There is joy and beauty today. It is temporary, here now and gone. So celebrate it while you can. Celebrate the temporary.
It is our tradition at Unity Church to invite people to share their reflections, to be put together in a collage of voices. And so many of you sent in such rich threads for this weaving that I decided I needed another voice. So I'm inviting Laurel Lane, a good friend of Jackie, to come and share in this reading with me. From Pam Hines. Aunt Jackie adopted my brother Keith and I and my two cousins Melanie and Molly and made it her mission to educate us in Minnesota history and culture and arts. And Jackie would put together little art projects, spending time reading with us and buying us books and teaching and playing instruments with us and taking us on trips. I started my iron collection when my grandma Lorraine put hers on auction, picking up a few neat-looking ones and then buying some more at the auction. And I've since acquired Jackie's collection. And now I'm really part of the unique world of iron collectors. A world that Jackie put a lot of time into, and her meticulous record-keeping of the collection for the Pitka Club.
From Cynthia Newbecker. From the time I met her 10 years ago, Jackie was all about advocacy and education. She taught us to advocate for ourselves in a clear, concise, organized manner, to always keep a medical journal of symptoms and detailing your circumstances that could be impacting them. Take this journal to your appointments and be organized with your insights and questions. Jackie was always educating doctors about Sjogren's, armed with educational sheets and references. Her attention to detail on this aided her medical team, services, and so reflected the whole thorough intelligence of who Jackie was. She was an educator and forever student, with a high regard for accuracy and knowing the whole picture. Her advocacy and education not only helped us, but the community and the healthcare teams. Jackie was a true friend who would talk through difficulties with straightforwardness and kindness. She provided knowledge, feedback, and treated all with equal compassion. Her kindness, patience, and methodical thinking came through always with a patience and a smile, despite her many difficulties. Thank you, Jackie, for the simple and huge things you have given us, me, and the world. You made an amazing difference in people's lives. You made the world a better and informed place.
From Molly McSherry. I'm Jackie Lynn's youngest niece. Being the youngest of the kids, I had to wait forever to turn 9 so I could finally spend a weekend with Aunt Jackie. The summer I was able to finally spend a weekend with her up in the big cities didn't necessarily pan out in my favor. Rather, we ended up with her and I in my living room having a picnic lunch while I laid in a hospital bed in a full body cast due to breaking my leg. Wasn't exactly what I wanted for my first annual trip with Aunt Jackie to be, but she made certain that the picnic lunch we ate was the best picnic lunch anyone had ever eaten. Over the years, we enjoyed time at parks and theaters and day trips and the like, but my fondest memory was every time we had a weekend away and ended up back at Jackie's condo for the night. I would always head right for her large desk, where I would find pencils and pens and highlighters and markers and notepads and sticky notes and staplers and sizzlers and office supplies galore. And I would use every pen, marker, pencil I could find and put together some type of office supply art. She had more supplies than I'd ever seen, and boy, it was fun to use them all. She gave me a Christmas present one year, a box full of office stuff. As I did my thing at her desk each year, she would just sit there and smile and tell me how I was going to be a successful businesswoman one day. Aunt Jackie, I hope I made you proud.
And this from my daughter, Elisa Lane. Jackie was my coming-of-age mentor right here in this sanctuary. We had a wonderful time getting to know each other over that year. Our favorite meeting spot was at Ram Mit, the Thai restaurant next to her condo, and sharing a meal of pineapple fried rice. Thank you, Jackie, for delighting us with your iron Christmas cards. We looked forward to seeing your amazing creativity and careful thought that you put into each and every card, every photo. In case you were wondering, the candy cane one was my favorite.
From Diane Dombrook. I first met Jackie in the 1990s at Augsburg University when we were both enrolled in the Masters of Arts in Leadership program. And 10 years later, I hired her as the volunteer coordinator for the Airport Foundation and Travelers Assistance at Minneapolis-St. Paul International Airport. As a fellow colleague and student, I knew Jackie to be exceptionally focused and creative and organized and pursuant of her goals. We shared many interests and often had conversations about gardening and weaving and our families and leadership theories, the environment, the iron collection she shared with her mother. I was always amazed at the numerous activities in which she was involved, despite the challenges to her health. She truly lived life to its fullest. I'm deeply saddened by Jackie's passing, but I am grateful for the connections we made while she was alive.
And this from Barb Wenzel. Jackie and I played trombone in the Medford High School band from 7th grade through 12th. There were 6 of us, 4 girls and 2 boys. Great for a marching band. The band also played for sports events, so we spent a lot of Friday nights during football and the basketball season as the pep band. We reconnected in retirement when she joined the Summit Questers Antique Club. The group met once a month to share our knowledge, so we could keep up with each other until COVID. The club learned all about her iron collection, which she shared with her mother and the International Organization of Iron Collectors.
From Keith Kneifel. Whether it was a visit to the zoo or to the Science Museum, or receiving trip souvenirs, and a history lesson on the latest trip or vacation that Jackie went on, Aunt Jackie was always educating us.
From Craig Dowd. Jackie, I have a few things I want to say to you. And this time, sadly, there will be no debate. Do you remember when we first met at Augsburg College? I was struggling with my thesis. So one of our favorite professors, Diane Pike, suggested that I talk to you. You explained the pitfalls when leaders use metaphors that equate people with machines instead of autonomous agents in a complex adaptive system. We talked about the butterfly effect, a concept in chaos theory, where a small change in one part of the system can lead to a large, surprising changes in other parts of the system. Or, as Jeff Goldblum explained in the movie Jurassic Park, a butterfly can flap its wings in Peking, and in Central Park, you can get rain instead of sunshine. After we talked, I remembered thinking, wow, you are weird. And so interesting. Could you tell that I immediately liked you? We got to know each other over the span of more than 2 decades. Can you believe it? It just feels like we met. Jackie, it turns out that you are not weird. You are a butterfly. One of our first book club meetings, you showed up with a stack of notes that reviled the actual book in length. Honestly, Jackie, I was a little annoyed at the time, but then your subtle message hit me. You were showing your respect to the group. You weren't attending for the snacks. I always look forward to hearing your point of view, and of course, I would never avoid your questions. How would that work? Who would that benefit? Who might be harmed? What could be the unintended consequences? I always left our meetings with a hurricane of thoughts and a warm smile. Jackie, you are a butterfly indeed. I will miss you.
From Linda Quammen. At the Airport Foundation, I work closely with Jackie and close to Jackie in the office next to hers. Jackie was supremely organized with spreadsheets and timesheets and multiple copies and Plan B scenarios. Her airport volunteer events were fun for the volunteers and easy on the staff. She really committed to whatever project or event was at hand. Not only in planning and logistics either. I believe it was the first volunteer appreciation event she coordinated, the Mill City Museum in Minneapolis. She appeared dressed like a Betty Crocker domestic goddess. And we knew we were in for a fabulous time.
And from Lynette Kniefel, Jackie's sister-in-law. I will forever remember Jackie as a kind, loving, talented, adventurous, generous woman. One of her many talents was her eye for taking great photos. Many, many years and numerous special events, she was the family photographer. We have wonderful memories in living color because of her. She also had a vast collection of albums full of her trips and of other special events throughout the years. She was a special, caring, loving part of our family.
From Judith Preckschott. I met Jackie Lind through the Weavers Guild of Minnesota in 2014. I will remember Jackie for many things: her independent spirit, her matter-of-factness, sharp wit, resourcefulness, and resilience. But I will focus on the reason why we became friends almost instantly: Jackie's generous nature. She readily shared who she was and what she had experienced, and the knowledge and skills that she had accumulated, her views of the world, and of course, about her health challenges and vulnerabilities. And this was a way of connecting with others, an offer that her friends accepted gladly and hoped to be able to reciprocate. It was a priceless gift.
From Catherine Barton. Jackie Lind was my first connection to the Department of Natural Resources in 1989. From that first phone call, she was filled with focus, purpose, and enthusiasm for the project she was hiring me for. I admired Jackie for the excellent way she did everything, from baking perfect Christmas cookies with tiny red eyes, keeping track of every book from the book club group, artfully weaving, educating others about Sjogren's, and most of all, her tenacious, courageous battle with multiple health issues. Sharing the same birthday, I heard every year about her triumphs and difficulties, which would have been insurmountable to others. Jackie, thank you for your example of grace, tenacity, and excellence.
From Terry Yearwood. Jackie left a legacy of strength and friendship and compassion, dedication, intelligence, creativity, inspiration. I am forever grateful to have had her in my life.
From Phil Cochran. Jackie and I met as new teachers in 1968. And for Christmas in 1968, one of Jackie's second graders gave her a book. A religious group's thoughts regarding evolution. Jackie snuck it into my mailbox in the school office. I put it back into hers. 1 year later at Christmas, it reappeared in my mailbox. The next year, it reappeared in hers. That school was torn down, and Jackie and I went in different directions, but the book exchange was on. When Jackie and her husband, at that time, moved into their new home, I moved into their old apartment. That Christmas, after a party, the book appeared in my apartment. No fuss, no bother, it was just there. The next Christmas, it appeared under their Christmas tree, a gift from Santa. Jackie started calling it the covert gift for its silent arrival. Over time, it began showing up inside of things: a giant Rice Krispies bar, a large stuffed animals for my sons, a sealed coffee can, a sealed Wheaties box strapped to the back of a stuffed owl from Garrison Keillor's show, an episode of a similar long-term gift exchange. Owls' silent flight allows them to reappear without the prey's awareness. Then Jackie broke the pattern, and employed a third grade party, a waitress, to bring the book to the table as part of the bill after lunch. From that point on, many people have been involved in the stealth mode of this exchange. I'd ask for hands here, but we will keep that silent. Many of those exchanges were elaborate productions, and many of those participants are here at this service. All exchanges resulted in the aha moment, when you recognize that you'd been conned. I received the book this year disguised as an advice book for new grandfathers, part of a set of similar books from my family. I wish I could send it on with her, with the expectation that it would appear again next Christmas. Jackie was one tough woman. A lifetime of pain never kept her from living a full life. She worked hard at everything she did. One of her grad school advisors told me that her master's thesis was the kind of work that they only hoped that their students would also do.
From Melanie Troutman. Aunt Jackie took my cousin and I to Walnut Grove for a birthday trip when we were young, impressionable, avid reading girls. It was the perfect timing. Pam and I were both in the middle of the Little House on the Prairie book series, and being able to watch the characters I was reading about come to life in the pageant, in the museums, and in my mind while visiting the real-life places where the Ingalls family lived was amazing. I'm forever grateful for Jackie's unselfish desire to take her nieces and nephews in like her own children. She will continue to hold a special place in my heart. Minnesota holds a special place as well. And for this, I will always be grateful. Thank you, Aunt Jackie.
From Brian Stenquist, a short poem of remembrance of Jackie. Virtuosity for Jackie. Of all the virtues, I will name 3 and ask who embodied them better than she. Who embodied honesty better than she? Who valued integrity more than Jackie? Who offered humility more often than she? Jackie embodied such virtuosity, honesty, integrity, humility, to name 3. Sail on, dear Jackie, sail on and be free. Sail on, dear Jackie, with virtuosity.
From Barry Von Brook. I had several dozen chances to get to know Jackie Lind over several decades. And among her many qualities and gifts, she seemed especially able to evoke opportunity. It seemed to bubble out of her naturally, and by the time I met her, she'd become very good at nurturing and gifting people with uniquely tuned opportunities. As I've thought back over my experiences with her, I was struck again by how often her smiling, almost mischievous presence nudged and challenged me to think a little bit differently about language or an issue. Her occasional, "What do you think about?" was invariably a prelude to an opportunity which made quite a difference in my life. I saw Jackie do the same for several people over the years, and I bet there are hundreds of others. A community of the gifted opportunity that she deftly inspired.
And from Mike Newman, Jackie was a kind-hearted person, beyond which was a woman of steel. Her wonderful, welcoming smile and that high-pitched laugh was something, when something tickled her funny bone, were the essence of the Jackie I knew. Oh, she could be serious, and often was. But I remember fondly the Jackie with the bright eyes, the knowing smile, and the resolve to keep trying to do better and to make the world better by her actions. And she did.
From Jan Eckern. Jackie and I used to travel together, and once in North Carolina, heading for the shore, our map showed 2 likely routes. And the woman at the Travelers Information Center counter recommended one, saying we wouldn't want to go the other way because, honey, that's just an old swamp. Well, the swamp intrigued us. So we chose the road less traveled, It was a state park with canoes for rent, and the ranger told us it was too cold for the alligators to bother us. So we'd be just fine. For a couple of hours, we paddled around old cypress trees and still, dark water in a North Carolina swamp.
And this from Kathleen Weflin. Jackie was a beloved member of our Literary Guild, a book group formed by the Department of Natural Resources colleagues in 1992. We looked forward to Jackie's careful reading and incisive analysis of every book. In October 2022, we discussed The Sound of a Wild Snail Eating, a small nonfiction book with particular meaning for Jackie. Stricken by mysterious autoimmune diseases, the author recounts her year-long companionship with a woodland snail brought to her bedside in a potted plant. Jackie identified with the life of the author and with the life of the snail, both slowly moving, exploratory, full of natural curiosity. The sound of a wild snail eating reflected Jackie's own biophilia. With delight, Jackie quoted passages such as, "Slime is the sticky essence of a gastropod's soul, the medium for everything in its life: locomotion, defense, healing, courting, mating, and egg production." I had recommended the book to our group, and later Jackie told me she felt as if I had chosen it for her. Indeed, she was its closest reader.
From Vicky Fodor. We worked together training volunteers at Minneapolis-St. Paul Airport, and our budding friendship blossomed from there. We shared an appreciation of green and growing things, spending hours at Bachman's and hoping our selections would survive. Of course, those shopping forays ended at Patrick's, where we could indulge our sweet tooth. We attended the state fair a number of times, during which I learned to see the craftsmanship of rugs and quilts and hardanger through her eyes. Later years found us sharing medical challenges. It was Jackie who accompanied me on my first visit to a hematologist when I had some abnormal blood results. I was reassured when she said that the physician had given the best explanation that she had ever heard. And when I faced severe dermatological problems, Jackie helped me research possible clothing options that would reduce my sensitivities. When our conversation turned to fragrances and artificial ingredients in toilet tissue, she said, "Well, now I know we're good friends when we can talk about that."
And this from Jay Raymond. Jackie and I met in 1999 through our association with the U.S. Club for Iron Collectors. But we did not form a relationship on that basis. From the beginning, I asked for her help and guidance in matters related to the club and found that she offered considered, practical advice that was not rooted in her ego. Over the years, I would call her up and say, "I have an ethical dilemma," and ask for her counsel. Jackie understood the importance, indeed the essential nature, of humans forming communities of people that act in a communal interest. That's why she devoted so much of her heart and soul to so many communities. And then could I also just say that Ben is here with his guitar because he was Jackie's guitar teacher. And he chose the second piece because it was a duet that they were working on. Is that right? And until the end, basically she worked and really appreciated Ben's work. That's your collage. I just made that up.
And this is Laurel's. From Laurel Lane. The year was 1971. I was a brand new elementary teacher in the Minneapolis Public Schools, Kokorin Elementary School, 2nd grade. I was assigned to a classroom directly across the hall from my yet unknown team teacher partner, Jackie Lind. I would teach all the reading and language arts, and Jackie would teach all the math and science. This was a new and innovative model of teaching, and Jackie would be steering us into the future. She never stopped steering into the future. Throughout our 52-year friendship, she never stopped teaching and learning. Not that long ago, Jackie took a group of us to her hometown of Owatonna. I'm sure I'm not saying that right. Yes. Oh, right on. Owatonna, to tour the beautiful, historic National Farmers Bank, and then onto her mom's famous basement museum that truly showed off her, Lorraine's, iron collection. Jackie's yearly holiday and New Year's cards were the best. She used her own collection of little irons as props for the cards, and whether those irons were photographed pressing for peace in 2004 or weaving memories on her loom in 2013, each greeting card was a treasure. Jackie was a treasure. I've been lucky to have had years with Jackie's subtle humor, her brilliant mind, stories, and, yes, tears. As our moms, both with similar health issues and living well into their 90s, died within a few weeks of each other in 2018. I will never forget how vulnerable we both could be with each other. Sacred times. Trusted confidants. So, dear Jackie, love and travel well. Thank you, Laurel. Will you please rise now and join with me in singing Morning Has Broken? It's number 38 in your hymnals. Jacqueline May Kniefel Lind of Lilydale was born in Owatonna, Minnesota on March 9th, 1947, and she died on August 29th, 2023. As you've heard, Jackie seemed to have lived many lives within her one precious life. Jackie had 3 different careers in the public and nonprofit sectors. She enjoyed time with friends, weaving, doing needlework, reading, gardening, collecting antique irons, and volunteering. Her travel and vacations took her to China and Turkey and Canada and many, many states. A degree in elementary education from Augsburg College led her to teaching students and teachers in Minneapolis schools for 9 years, specializing in science education. 26 years with the State of Minnesota Departments of Natural Resources, Environmental Education, Employee Relations, Energy and Transportation, managing natural resource projects and environmental education programs and energy conservation initiatives and employee development. Her 3rd career, volunteer director for nonprofit airport foundation at the Minneapolis-St. Paul International Airport, where she recruited and trained travelers' assistance volunteers for 9 years. The lovely obituary prepared by her family details the outline of Jackie's life in much greater detail than this. But what stands out to me are the threads of character woven throughout and connecting all that she touched. Jackie was tough. Having determined early on that she would not let her illnesses define or control her life. This iron will shaped a woman who did nothing halfway or half-heartedly. She became 150% involved in whatever caught her interest. And if there wasn't a committee or a board to join to get things done, she created and then led one. As the valedictorian of her Medford High School class, Jackie excelled at everything she set her mind to, and once quipped that maybe she should have aimed higher. It seems a natural fit for her to have taught leadership and chaos theory at St. Kate's through her own consulting service, JML. Always learning, always teaching, always teaching, always learning. When the medical community didn't know enough about her conditions, she learned and then taught them. But not only for herself. Jackie pulled together significant funding and a panel of very influential people to do research and then teach doctors and nurses. And so Jackie became a charter member and president of the Lupus Foundation of Minnesota, serving on the board for 20 years. Volunteering was an important part of Jackie's life. President of Augsburg College Alumni Association, member of the board of directors for the Weavers Guild of Minnesota, charter member of the Iron Pressing and Trivet Collectors of America, because there needed to be one of those. She helped Goodwill Easter Seals train their clients on job interviewing skills, and she contributed in many ways to countless organizations, always teaching and learning and teaching. Some things I found fascinating are her relatively uncommon hobbies of weaving and collecting old iron. Jackie's weaving is breathtaking. Starting with placemats with her first loom in the 70s and 80s, and then moving on to rugs that were on display at the state fair, and then finer things still with the Weaving Guild. The huge loom that she got from the Netherlands that took up much of her living room space has been donated to the Annandale Art and Textile Center, the Heart of the Lakes Weavers. This is a nonprofit vocational weaving program for people with alternate learning styles and abilities that provides classes and vocation and dignity through creating textile art. It is beautiful. The weavers at the Heart of the Lakes have named the loom after Jackie, weaving her memory into every thread as they work on Jackie. Jackie's collection of more than 4,000 antique irons began with her own mother and then developed under her leadership into a global network and a community, a real community of people dedicated to the craft and heritage of these unique artifacts. She was also inspired by and in love with nature. Ever vigilant about waste and caring for the planet, she would pause in wonder at turtles laying eggs. And she worked to raise awareness about fresh water and about conservancy issues. And she even donated her own body to the Mayo Clinic, just in case it might be of further use for study. Always learning, always teaching. Always teaching, always learning. When the pandemic hit, Jackie had to hunker down in her place for safety due to her vulnerable health. And while isolated, she started up Zoom group meetings of all kinds and kept up with the outside world through her computer screen. And it was then that she decided to take up guitar and ukulele lessons from Ben. She was a diligent student, not wanting to disappoint him, being over-prepared, perhaps. They were working on that Bach piece together as a duet. Thank you. It seems that everyone who encountered Jackie experienced her warmth, her commitment to excellence, to relationship and community, her vulnerability and her resilience that were tied up one with the other, her patience, her wit and her sharp mind, her eagerness to learn and to share her learnings generously. It's infectious. We all want to do it too, because she's given us this gift. In the coda of the book, The Sound of a Wild Snail Eating, which is on the display on the table of artifacts outside for you, the author Elizabeth Tova Bailey writes, "While illness keeps me always aware of my mortality, I realize that what matters most is not that I survive, not even that my species survives, but that life itself continues to evolve. As the Holocene mass extinction rushes on, which species will be left? And what new creature will evolve that we cannot now imagine? For what creature could ever have imagined us?" It has been an honor to get to know Jackie through your remembrances. And it is truly a blessing and a reflection on Jackie that she is so well and so lovingly remembered by so many. One of Jackie's brothers, John, shared a brief message from Jackie for us all. She wanted us to hear, let's thank all the great teachers who influenced our lives and hope today's children have teachers as dedicated as those that influenced me during my life. May it be so. Amen. Please rise in body or in spirit and join me in singing the hymn Blue Boat Home. The lyrics are in the order of service for you. and know that the light of Jackie's life still shines within our hearts. Dear Jackie, may the universe receive you and hold you in the greater oneness of everything. May you be whole and at peace. Those who love you and mourn you will know you always in their learning and their teaching, in their building of communities, in their exploring and adventuring, in their living life to its fullest, regardless of the challenges that threaten to slow us down. They will know you always in the joys of crafting and creating and reading and collecting of precious things and priceless relationships. May the great spirit of life and love fill the hearts that are present here with comfort and peace. In the spirit of love we have gathered. In the spirit of love we depart. Let us go now, gentle people.